share everything you can. And I think that one thing that's been really fundamental about Google is we have an incredibly open culture. Until we went public, in fact, until about 3 months before, our VP of sales got up every day and told us the revenue numbers for the company. And it's amazing when you take a lot of smart, motivated people and give them access to a huge amount of information, how well informed their choices are about what they want to work on and what needs to be done. And I think that's been really amazing because it's helped us manage the organization in a way that's really flat. So you may have heard things like GE has a 1 to 12 rule, which means for every 12 employees there's one manager. We've had a very flat organization, so we have situations where we'll have 40 or 60 employees with one manager. And the idea there is we want people, if they can prioritize their own time and manage themselves really well because they have access to a really broad array of information, that works well, and it gives them the empowerment and feeling of independence that they need to be really successful. And share everything you can also applies to another philosophy that I think is rather interesting, which really struck me from a book that was written by Tom Kelly called The Art of Innovation. And he has a concept there around taking credit. And he'll say that one thing that happens sometimes is that when people come up with an idea, they'll think that they have a really good idea, and they throw it out there to the organization, and then they follow it around because they want to make sure that everyone knows it's their idea, right? And and he said that there'll be people who can become so consumed with, does everyone know this is my idea, that they ultimately stop producing new ideas. And he said that he made this observation that at IDEO, he saw this phenomenon where people who just put all their energy into coming up with the most ideas possible and not really worrying about where those ideas flowed inside the organization or how they got used or whether or not they got credit, ultimately ended up flourishing more because they became known as such fountains of ideas that someone would say, well, where did this idea come from? And they'd say, well, I don't know. Maybe it was Joe. Joe always has ideas. It was this very interesting concept of not being territorial to the point of actually hindering yourself. And I think it was a really interesting observation. It's something that we do a pretty good job practicing Google, which is not to say that people don't get credit for the ideas that they come up with, but I think that people are focused more on the users and on innovation and less on how they themselves, are fulfilled, and as a result, they actually have a more fulfilling experience and are noted for their achievements more.